What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing all right. Now, I know I'm not in the studio right now. I didn't plan on making a video update, but considering what has happened over the past few days, I think we need to at least have a look at the charts, consider what's going on, and see where things could be headed. So we're going to hop in right now, have a look at the charts. I'm actually going to turn the camera off, but stick with me. We're going to go over exactly what is happening right now in the crypto space. All right, so here we are having a look at the chart right now. And as I did say, guys, I wasn't planning on making a video. By the way, I should be back in the studio full time starting on Monday, but I did have to bring you this emergency Bitcoin update video. There have been a lot of interesting things that have changed in the past few days. The first, you can see right here, we have fallen out of this ascending triangle on the monthly. Now, obviously, it's only the first week of January. We still have 3 more weeks to reclaim back into this territory, to reclaim that bullish narrative for Bitcoin. But currently, there is a lot of fear, extreme fear, in fact, on the Fear and Greed Index. And Bitcoin from top to bottom now is currently sitting around, well, we're actually sitting around 41. This is the BLX. So we're down almost 40% on the Bitcoin chart. So what could be causing this? Well, one thing that is sparking a little bit of panic is the fact that the Bitcoin hash rate has had a 20% drop. This is because the government in Kazakhstan has cut their internet connection, and people are fearing that what happened in China on May 19th, when we had a 55% crash after Bitcoin mining shut down in China, could be happening again in Kazakhstan. But that is not all. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, first, let's dive into the charts and have a look at what I was talking about, what I have been talking about for the past few weeks right here. And that was the fact that essentially Bitcoin was putting in on the daily chart a descending triangle. Now, I said this is a bearish pattern, right? And once we had this fake out Bart Simpson and we got back into it, that's when I started to get a bit concerned. And I did say that our next target was looking somewhere around the $42,000 level. You could see we derived that because essentially that was where the previous high was when we got up to 42,000 on the first euphoria. Now, keep in mind, guys, the first time we actually got up to that point, everybody was celebrating. We were saying how amazing this was for Bitcoin. Currently, we're at the exact same level we were basically at 1 year ago. However, today, everyone is panicking. Bitcoin is dying. That's the end. Everything is over, right? Well, not exactly. You can actually see right here, if we have a look at this legacy trend line, right? We started to put in some support back here in November and December of 2019. It acted as some resistance here, some resistance here. You could see we kind of could argue maybe it tried to be a little bit of support right here, but we are in fact touching this level perfectly as I'm making this video. And this is the very critical zone right here that we had talked about, right? On the low end, we do have Bitcoin at around 37,900. And at the high, we have Bitcoin around 40,500. Currently, we are sitting above this level and it is supporting us. But for how long can that happen? Well, like Rect Capital pointed out, it could be something similar following what happened essentially in May of 2012. This was when China had banned Bitcoin and we did have the crazy crash. This kind of ties in with the whole fear over what's happening with Kazakhstan right now. Could we just end up doing a multi-week accumulation like we did back here? That is very possible for Bitcoin. However, the one thing that we do need to talk about is the fact that Bitcoin has lost the 50 weekly moving average right here. And you can see that this has generally supported us with the exception of this COVID crash down here for the majority of the bull run. Now we have fallen below it. Now, something interesting to consider is that this year specifically, we have seen a major deviation between Bitcoin and altcoins. Usually when Bitcoin gets hit, the altcoins tend to get hit double, triple as hard. However, interestingly enough, we have seen Ethereum performing somewhat stronger than Bitcoin. And if we switch this to the crypto cap, so this is all of the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, altcoins, all of them, you can actually see that we are having a perfect retest of the 50 moving average. So we may have to start looking at crypto as a whole rather than just Bitcoin specifically. Now, I just want to point out that this isn't just happening in Bitcoin. We also saw a bit of a move in the S&P and stocks and the Dow Jones as well. And why are we seeing this fall? Well, this has a lot to do with the fact that the U.S. central bank said it would speed up reductions in its bond purchases and signal that interest rates would rise in 2022 as it grapples with the strongest inflation that we have seen in 39 years. They are, in fact, taking a hawkish stance. Like economist Alex Kruger pointed out, markets may be overreacting short term, But looking beyond hard to estimate how hawkish the Fed minutes were, QE reduction plus 3 hikes, okay, but 3 hikes plus accelerated QT was not in anybody's radar, right? So quantitative easing is essentially when they loosen the reins, and quantitative tightening or tapering is what they're doing right now. And he says the Fed is likely to deliver unless inflation subdues faster than expected or credit markets collapse. Now, we all know that they don't want to see the stocks collapse. Will they end up bailing out all of their friends on Wall Street? Well, most likely. Let's be honest, guys, the US has quite a big ego, but we do still have that fear. Gareth Soloway over here, you can see, he says, long-term, I love cryptocurrency, I love Bitcoin, but the charts, and I am a technician, are just not showing that. Bitcoin, for me, has a nasty head and shoulders pattern on it. Believe it or not, in early 2022 or 2023, you could see a move down to sub $20,000 Bitcoin. Now, while I do agree that it does seem quite bearish right now, some people arguing that we are in a bear market simply because Bitcoin has in fact fallen below. Actually, if we go over here on the daily, you'll see that Bitcoin has fallen below the 200 daily moving average, which is this pink line right here. And arguably in traditional stocks, that is considered to be in a bear market, right? However, you can see right back here in this area, we actually did the same exact thing. We had some accumulation, right, for a few days, for about a week, and then we did in fact break above it. So it's not completely out of the cards to see Bitcoin do something like this. In fact, we were down, for a month and a half over here during massive accumulation. So that is just something to keep in mind. However, will Bitcoin actually fall down to $20,000? Well, you could also, by the way, if you are looking at the weekly, you could move this, something like this and something like this and say, hey, maybe we're just forming a different type of ascending triangle. Obviously, it's all based on your timeline, but zooming out right here and having a look at what Bitcoin has done every single time, you could see that as soon as Bitcoin does break above the previous all-time high, we never go below it again. In fact, as I told you multiple times, we tend to bounce off the 1.618 Fibonacci level. You could see right here, Bitcoin also had another all-time high, and once we broke above it, Bitcoin never fell below that level again. In fact, it perfectly touched the 1.618, and again, over here, we had the $20,000 all-time high. We did already come down and test the 1.618, so it is not very likely that Bitcoin is going to come all the way down to $20,000 again. In fact, if we did from top to bottom, that is a move down about 71%, which would signal that we are potentially in a bear market, and that was the top, and maybe the 4-year cycles are going to play out. But the most interesting thing to me right now is where we have the accumulation. You have to look at where people were buying Bitcoin. Now, if we zoom out here, you see that we have a very average buying level at around $10,000. So you say, oh, well then K-Dub, can't we go down to $10,000? Well, as you can see, the reason that that level existed was because there was so much time spent between both the bull market of 2017 and the bear markets of 2018 and 2019 for that level. But if we actually just get rid of those and we come over here, and we actually have a look at where Bitcoin is if we get rid of that, you could see that we did have the largest accumulation zone at around 47,590. Now, this is more of a zone right here. So actually, if you take it from the top, and keep in mind, look over here on the right side of the screen right here, you could see that it's not really a lot of volume. Even though we did have a lot of volume in a short period of time, the zone of volume really only stretches from about 49,000, I'll draw a box for you guys, down here at around 46,378. Now, a much larger accumulation zone, the one that I consider to be more significant, is this big lump of volume right here. And this is where we saw the accumulation phase after the Wyckoff distribution. Now, this area of accumulation, you can see right here, if we actually draw this box, this goes from, we'll say, about 39,000 all the way down here to about 31,000. And I do consider this to be more significant of an area of accumulation. And you can see that currently Bitcoin is sitting above that level right now. Now, we have pointed out the same way over on the S&P, if we go way, way, way back over here, okay, we did have a very similar scenario that had happened back here, where Bitcoin essentially, let me actually move this to a larger time frame to make it easier to see. at the S&P did in fact put in this giant M-shaped pattern where we revisited the bottom, came up, came back down again. We had a little mini fake out wick where everybody thought, the end is near, it's over, and we had a beautiful V-shaped recovery. Now, if we go back to what Bitcoin is doing right now, as I've been saying for a while on the channel, obviously I didn't want to get overly bearish on the price, but, being realistic about it, there is still a potential chance that we come back down and revisit this level and put in a giant M-shaped pattern. Now, I'm not saying that that is exactly what is going to happen, because as I showed you guys back here, we are actually touching this level quite nicely, but it is a possibility. Now, you're seeing still a lot of bullish things. Just the other day, I told you that the first ever publicly traded publicly traded stock is now allowing their investors to be paid in Bitcoin. They're referring to it as dividends. You also have the mayor of New York City saying that he's looking to get paid in Bitcoin for his first 3 months. I'll even play that clip for you right now.
Ask you this question because we are on CNBC. You said before you became mayor that you were going to take your first 3 paychecks, if I remember, in Bitcoin. Have you taken them in Bitcoin? Have you gotten a check? Have you gotten a payment in Bitcoin yet? And by the way, Bitcoin's come down, unfortunately for you, if you have.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the best time to buy is when things come down. So when they go back up, you made a good profit. Let's be clear on this. I know it's hard to believe because of the way we are getting stuff done, GSD, our motto, but it has only been just a couple of days since we've been in office, 5 days. It's been, I say being mayor of New York, each day is like dog years, you are fully engaged. But yes, I'm going to take my first 3 paychecks in Bitcoins. Haven't received my first check yet. But I think we need to use the technology of blockchain, Bitcoin, all other forms of technology. And I want New York City to be the center of that technology. So I'm looking forward to that first paycheck in Bitcoin.
So the biggest question again is, why is this happening? If there's so much bullish news coming out for Bitcoin, why are we continuing to see it to fall? Well, I already talked about the fact that we have the Fed taking a hawkish stance. I already talked about the fears over the 20% hash rate drop due to the Kazakhstan internet blackout, with fears of repeating what happened again when China banned it and we fell 55%. And also you could see right here, as I've told you before, when the open interest starts to get too high, you often need a flush out in the markets. Will Clemente points out right here, this area right here, guys, represents today's wipeout, whereas this is the open interest that has still been built up from the last month. Now, he says, by the way, this isn't a doom post. Honestly surprised we didn't see more of a flush today if this was aggressive longs built up, but you can still see that the futures open interest leverage ratio is extremely high. In fact, it hit the highest levels of all time. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying that, the futures markets, the leverage markets are the devil. Look, guys, at the end of the day, these types of products exist in traditional markets. They're not going anywhere. This is something that we have to deal with. Unfortunately, for those that are overusing and abusing leverage, well, there was $530 million in liquidations, and we've seen a 5% reset. Now, keep in mind, we saw an even bigger reset just a few weeks ago at around 30%, not to mention the fact that, just the other day, we had Sam, the CEO of FTX, saying that he was excited that certificates on the FTX 20X leverage Bitcoin index have been listed on the Vienna Stock Exchange. So as I said, guys, it's not going anywhere. And I always say on my channel, I do not recommend leverage for beginners. Leverage is an amazing tool for hedging against volatility, but it can be detrimental for people who do not know what they're doing. The best bet for any person just getting into crypto is to dollar cost average, or another thing that I have been speaking about recently is investing in some of these trends, right? Investing and holding, just sitting, because even if we go back to the stock market, yes, we did have this crazy crash back here. This was from 2000 all the way to 2008. But then look ahead, and what have we done? We've continued to go up and up and up and up again. And what does Bitcoin continue to do? Well, if you zoom out, right, and you have a look at the monthly, Bitcoin does the same thing. We continue to go up and up and up. In fact, this looks ridiculous when you take it off of a log chart. So as you can see over here, the CEO of Grayscale published a letter sharing that what crypto investment company he will be watching this year. In his letter, Michael Sonnenschein listed 5 trends and growth areas that his company would be tracking. They were crypto infrastructure, the rise of crypto protocols, Web3, and the metaverse, and NFTs apart from art, and of course, regulatory action, which is why when we go back to the Bitcoin chart over here, if we have a look at the weekly, you can see, yes, we have lost the 50 daily moving average. If we go over, however, to the total crypto cap, we are holding it. And that's why I said multiple times that 2022 is going to be a completely different year. So many people right now are looking at the broader picture. It's not just about Bitcoin. It's not just about Ethereum. It is about the blockchain space. It is about the metaverse. It is about gaming, about NFTs and DeFi and all the possible applications moving forward for blockchain as a whole, which is why it doesn't matter to me if Bitcoin does go sideways for the entire year of 2022. I believe there are massive opportunities right now to be had in crypto. You can see right over here, Solana had a major run up. We were talking about Solana on the channel at extremely low levels, but you could see, unfortunately, Solana has suffered its 4th network incident in a span of a few months. As a result, the network capacity, which was originally advertised to be 50,000 transactions per second, was reduced to several thousand transactions per second. Solana cited this as the reason why users experience failed transactions and added that its developers are hard at work. Actually, they said this is happening because of a high rise in compute transactions, guys. Now, obviously, if we have a look over here at the total market cap of Solana, Solana is sitting at around a $43 billion market cap, right? Now, I'm not saying that maybe Solana does or doesn't deserve to be in that spot. Solana is clearly a great project that a lot of people are using right now. But one of the projects that I had spoke about specifically was Phantasma. I personally find Phantasma to be incredibly undervalued. Let me just actually let one of the devs explain this compared to Solana super quick.
Does it feel like Phantasma just, I don't know, has been like disrespected by the investor community when looking at functionality, or is there something that's different that I'm not noticing between Phantasma and Solana, or Phantasma and Neo, or one of these other chains?
Yeah, look, in terms of maybe I'll talk about the technology first. Like the technology with Phantasma is second to none. It's light years ahead of the competition. Like you mentioned, probably Solana's the closest. But even none are even close to Phantasma yet, right? So it's I mean, they probably started building Solana 2 years after Phantasma chain, so it's a couple of years ahead. Yeah. For sure.
And you can see right here some of the amazing things that they have to offer. They obviously have their dual token. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. Staking, interoperability, infinite side chains. The speed of each side chain is 5,000 transactions per second. Non-fungible tokens. They have smart NFTs, tokenization. They have their own oracles, decentralized finance, decentralized storage, encrypted email, and encrypted chat as well. And having a look at Solana right here, you can see that we were looking at this area right here for the breakout. We did get that breakout, and now it appears that essentially what we were doing back here, we were forming this asymmetrical triangle. And if we zoom out right here, it looks like we're looking to form an even larger asymmetrical triangle as well. And the reason that I've been talking about this is because you don't need to leverage trade every single day. In fact, I don't recommend it, especially in these types of sideways markets. And, you know, Bitcoin, even though, yes, it has been the king the whole time, we need to move forward. We need to stay progressive, and we need to look at these up and coming projects. I'm just using Phantasma as an example. This is just one example. Obviously, you know, I am bullish on it, but that's just my opinion. You do what you want. But one of the reasons that I have a look right here, you know, there are these opportunities. For example, getting back to Solana, sitting at a $43 billion market cap. If you want to see where Phantasma is, you have to come all the way down. Where is it? It's all the way down here. sitting at number 239. Now look at this, guys. This is lower than a $300 million market cap, which, by the way, in the past 7 days, Phantasma is one of the few that have actually been green. The majority have been red. In fact, if we actually move to the top gainers right now, you can see that yeah, Phantasma is right here at around 13.8%. So 13.8% in a week. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of the other coins have been falling. But the point I'm trying to make is if you look at a coin, just for example, like Internet Computer, sitting at around, number 31, this has a $6 billion market cap. Now, compared to, Solana, if we just go back to the chart regular, you can see that's sitting around a $43 billion. Now, I'm not even going to say a $43 billion moonshot for Phantasma. Let's not even say that. Let's just come down here and say that maybe it does belong somewhere in here, between, Harmony and Stellar, right? So using Internet Computer as an example, this is sitting at roughly a $6 billion market cap, right? So when you look at the risk versus reward, if you take $6 billion, right? So we have $6 billion. That's, so we have 6 billion right there, and we divide this by 300 million. That's a potential 20x for Phantasma, which is why I said there's absolutely no reason that it can't get to that level. And the point that I'm trying to make is not just to bring up Phantasma specifically, but I'm trying to explain to you that there are still opportunities and there is lots of money to be made in these markets, but we just need to know where to look. I am not scared of a bear market. I am not scared of a sideways market. What I am scared of is people abandoning the crypto and blockchain space. And you could tell by the amount of money that has poured in recently to crypto, specifically this year alone, obviously there's a lot of interest. And just to kind of point it out, guys, the dip that everyone's afraid of, this crazy dip that everyone's freaking out about, it's this up here, guys, right here. This is what everyone's freaking out about. And look at this. Zoom out, guys. I mean, if you actually look at where we are down from top to bottom, okay, for Bitcoin, right here, Bitcoin is sitting at around a 40% dip. Now, if we have a look previously, just throughout Bitcoin's history, I mean, look, I'm not going to name the dates off, but right here, okay, this is back in 2015, 50% crash. Right here, we had another 40 or 38% crash right here. Okay, we had another 36% crash, and this was during the incredible bull run of 2017. We also had a crash here, 38%. We had a crash here, 31%. And then, of course, we finally had the blow off top, and we did go into the bear market. And even in, these markets as well, from top to bottom, we had this sort of, sideways mini bear market that fell 72%. And even on the way up to where we are right now, we had Bitcoin crash 22% here. And during the China crash from top to bottom, we had a 55% crash. So you really have to zoom out. You really have to have a look at the entire picture. And, if this is too much for you as an individual, if you're new, well, then crypto might just not be for you. A lot of these new people, they get into crypto, they buy, they lose 20%, they panic sell, and then that's it. Crypto's a scam. It's going to zero. But you have to not go into this with your emotions. And if you believe in Bitcoin the way that I do, the way that many others do, you can see that no matter what the Fed says, no matter whether or not they're going to be tapering or they're going to be raising interest rates or whatever it is that they say they're going to do I think that Bitcoin will not be affected by this short term? No, I absolutely do not. I think Bitcoin will be affected short term. But Bitcoin has had many, many, many times. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this, just to get back to this level, right, where we hit right here in this 2013 top over here, this literally took 1,225 days of just massive accumulation. During this entire period, people said it was dying, it was going to zero, it was over, and boom, look what happened, guys, new all-time high for $20,000. And look how long it took here. 1,099 days. This was a very long, drawn-out period. We had this fake out here, 14,000, came all the way back down to $3,800. Bitcoin was dying. That's it. It's over. Throw in the towel. And then from bottom of the wick to the top, Bitcoin did a 1,669% pump, right? So no, guys, I don't think Bitcoin's going back down to 20,000. That's absolutely insane. if it did that, it would be the first time in history that it's ever done that before. Not to say that there can't be a first time for everything, but considering the massive amount of accumulation zones that I showed you on the VPVR, I just don't see that happening. I do remain bullish on Bitcoin. Short term, things could get a little bit crazy, but I don't want to use the words guarantee, but I can almost guarantee from my perspective and my opinion that Bitcoin is going to be putting in a new all-time high in 2022. And, the same way that if I even take this off the log scale, have a look at this down here now, right? This is just actual real raw values. This is what everyone was scared about. This is what everyone was freaking out about. And look at what happened. This is no reason to be scared, guys, because one day, very soon, this is going to look like this. And this, which was the previous all-time high, eventually, this will look like this, look like this, look like this. So that's it for me, guys. I know it was a little bit of a longer video. Sorry I didn't have the camera to film me today, but I just wanted to go over this emergency update. I hope it helps to put things in a little bit perspective. And once again, guys, I want you to understand I'm not trying to shill Phantasma. It's just a really amazing project. I think it's extremely under the radar, and I think there are a lot of other projects doing a lot right now. Of course, you can have your fun flipping these altcoins, getting into these sales and whatever, but there are some amazing long-term projects out there. Chainlink is an amazing project. Phantasma, an amazing project. And like I said, I am looking towards a lot of layer zeros. I'm looking into some DAOs, and I'm also looking into ZK rollups this year as well. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If you like these kind of videos, even though I hadn't planned on doing it, but I had to do it for you guys because I freaking love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. Smash the like button if you think Bitcoin is going to the moon. And if you're shaking in your boots, well, like I said, I don't know what to say. Have fun selling to Michael Saylor and friends, and to me as well. In fact, I actually picked up some Bitcoin as well. I bought a little bit around 45, and I bought some more when we dipped down to around 43. And I do have some cash left, not as much as I'd like, but I do have some in case we do get down into this crazy 30K level again. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Remember, be safe out there. I love you. It's not the end of the world. Zoom out, guys. Zoom out. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.